So what kind of advice when it comes to vaccines in general do you give your patients, and do you offer alternatives for what's typically the cold and flu season, things you can do maybe to help boost immune system outside of washing hands and doing the things that we're told?
Yeah, you bet. I give recommendations, stuff I would do, but for instance, vitamin D, most of us, especially up here in the northern hemisphere, vitamin D, when it's low, vitamin D is not even a vitamin, it's a hormone, so it controls your immune response. So if you're low on vitamin D, you're going to get sick more often. So for instance, in Japan, this was a few years ago, they found just giving people, I think it was either 2 or 5, I think it was 2,000 IUs of vitamin D a day, cut the rates of influenza more than half. So vitamin D, another supplement that's very good is called N-acetylcysteine, NAC. That's a wonderful, immediately when you ingest it, it converts to glutathione, which is your #1 antioxidant. That will put your immune system on steroids. And then as far as the problem with like the flu vaccine, Scott, is influenza is what we call a retrovirus. It's like HIV. It's constantly changing its surface proteins. So every time they make a vaccine, it's a guess. And we're talking literally hundreds, if not thousands of combinations. I mean, you're literally gambling. And you can go back and do the research. Every spring, I bet in the last decade, you'll say the CDC says we had the wrong strain. And, and everyone I know who gets the flu vaccine gets sick, Or, the one thing I get a kick out of is they'll get sick and they'll go, they didn't feel well for a week after they had, well, that's the flu, Again, the flu vaccine is really a guess every year, and I mean, I'm not going to put something in my body that's a guess, especially after a reaction I had, or my family's.
I think one of the differences between the flu vaccine and others like MMR, even tetanus, things that we've talked about, is that you are encouraged to get it every single year, and it's almost the entire population now is encouraged to get it every year. Do we know anything about the longer term effects of getting that every single year? Is there any studies on that, and is that maybe one of the concerns as well, is that you're getting a different vaccine, like you said, a guesstimate vaccine every single year? It's always different.
Yep. Yeah. So again, a lot of these vaccines are temporary. Your body doesn't build that forever immunity, right? So you got all these different things, plus you're exposed to everything in the vaccine. You start doing that year after year. I mean, some of those have heavy metals in them, which go right to the blood, right through the blood-brain barrier. I can tell you our rates of Alzheimer's, pre-senile dementia, Parkinson's, all these neurological disorders are on the rise. And I actually seen a study the other day, our life expectancy in America is 54th. There's many third world countries ahead of us. So, we got the best doctors in the world, the best equipment, the best access to medicines, vaccines. If we're doing all these things to be preventative, why are we that low on the totem pole? So again, this answer is no. There's been no research done long term. But I know as a nation, we're getting sicker, we're getting fatter, we're getting every chronic disease is going through the roof. I mean, there's kids now that are getting type 2 adult onset diabetes by the time they're teenagers. So something's broken. That's an inverse relationship. So, and that's why I implore people, with the internet, the beauty of the internet is you can become self-read, you can become your own doctor if you would, to a point. I mean, again, don't get me wrong, medicine is wonderful. Medicine is very, very good when it comes to emergencies. That's why you see shows like ER and House and, these life crisis moments, but they never show a person go in and get a prescription, or a person who's got neuropathy so bad they're getting their feet cut off, So again, it's how you look at it. And I always tell patients, people in general, when you got a symptom or a condition, the bigger question is not, okay, I'm going to take this and it's going to get better. It's, why did I get this? Why am I constantly sick? Is it your diet? People forget the best medicine's at the end of your fork, right? So no medicine in this world is not either a replicate or something our body already produces on its own. The problem is when you start to mess with Mother Nature, For instance, like antidepressants. You start taking an antidepressant, well, guess what? Your body goes, well, there's plenty coming in. Why am I doing my job? So it quits it. Same thing with anything else. And a lot of these, unfortunately, you become dependent upon to even function. It's just like any other drug, heroin. First it gets people feeling good. Next thing you know, it's just there to get them feeling normal. Next thing you know, it's just to make it through the day. So.